This is the Midland Home Service.
My Aunt Jane, she brought me in and she gave me tea out of her wee tin. Half a bup and a wee snow top, 3 black lumps out of her wee shop. Half a bup and a wee snow top, 3 black lumps out of her wee shop.
We present the Song Carriers.
Here wee Jeannie was looking off a thin, a rickle o' banes covered her wi' skin. Now she's getting a double chin wi' sucking Coulter's candy. Ally bally bee, sitting on his mammy's knee, greeting for another bobby to buy Coulter's candy.
The second programme of the series in which Ewan MacColl introduces the songs and singers of the British folk song revival.
If you walk down a village street, you'll see a cottage that's trim and neat, and then maybe a rain a late on Molly's out shop window. It stood there sin' I don't know when, I bet it went on to Bez and Ben. It's seen some changes too sin' then, there's Molly's out shop window. Young children running up church brew would tarry on the way to school to see how far an halfpenny'd go in Molly's out shop window. There'll be humbugs, bullseye, swaggering dicks, some gumpets too, and licorice sticks, and lucky bags, and a box of bricks in Molly's out shop window.
3 songs all dealing with the same subject, the sweet shop on the corner of the street. The first of them, My Aunt Jane, was sung by Moira McGee of Belfast, and has been current among Belfast children for the best part of 100 years. The second piece, Coulter's Candy, was sung by Enoch Kent of Glasgow, and it too has been a favourite with 6 generations of juvenile Glaswegians. Molly's Out Shop Window, the third song, was sung by Harry Boardman of Failsworth, Manchester, and is undoubtedly the work of one of those many dialect poets who flourished in the mid-19th century throughout the industrial north of England and in lowland Scotland, where they were known as poets of the Kailyard, or cabbage patch. In addition to the fact that all these 3 songs were sung by revival singers and dealt with the same subject, they have something else in common. They are all urban songs. Previous folk song revivals, and there have been several, have concerned themselves exclusively with songs and ballads of the countryside. The present revival has extended the folk song repertoire enormously by including soldier songs, industrial folk songs, children's pieces, nonsense rhymes, and certain types of street songs. As recently as 25 years ago, it would have been inconceivable for a singer to salute any audience with, say, children's taunts, chants, and street cries.
Says your owl one to my owl one, will you come to the waxy jargle? Says my owl one to your owl one, sure I haven't got a farthing. I've just been down to Monto town to see Uncle McArdle. He wouldn't lend me a half a crown for to go to the waxy jargle.
Monday is my washing day, Tuesday I am done, and Wednesday is my ironing day, Thursday I am done. Friday is my shopping day, Saturday I am done, and Sunday is my day of rest. I wish my mother would come. She didn't come last Sunday, nor yet the Sunday before, and if she comes next Sunday, well, I'll kick her out to the door, singing 1, 2, 3, a leery, 4, 5, 6, a leery, 7, 8, 9, a leery, 10, a leery, policeman.
I know a woman who lived in the wood, wheelo, wheelo, while. I know a woman who lived in the wood, down by the river Sila. She had a baby 3 months old, wheelo, wheelo, while. She had a baby 3 months old, down by the river Sila. Had a penknife long and sharp, wheelo, wheelo, while. She had a penknife long and sharp, down by the river Sila. She stuck the penknife in the baby's heart, wheelo, wheelo, while. She stuck the penknife in the baby's heart, down by the river Sila.
Ah, poor old Dicey Riley has taken to the sup. Ah, poor old Dicey Riley will never give his up. For it's off each morning to the pop, then she goes in for a little drop for the heart. The roll is dicey royally. She'll walk along Fitzgibbon Street with an independent air. Then it's down by Summer Hill and at the people stare. She'll say it's nearly 1:30, so I'll nip in for another little one for the heart of the roll is dicey royally.
Now, all these pieces are by definition folk songs. They're made of the stuff of the daily life of the people, for children and people too. They achieve wide circulation as a result of oral transmission, and they exist in scores and sometimes in hundreds of versions. Side by side with the discovery or rediscovery of the children's street songs, the revival has also taken to itself the work created by 19th century urban songwriters, especially those with strong regional associations. The Tyneside area was particularly rich in local bards, men like Robert Nunn, George Ridley, and Tommy Armstrong. It would be difficult to find a revival singer in northeast England who doesn't include songs by at least one of these three writers in his or her repertoire. Here is Jack Elliott, a miner of Birtley, County Durham, singing Tommy Armstrong's Stanley Market.
If you're bad enough you meet and would like to be put right, take a walk some Friday night up at Stanley Market. All kinds of doctors there you'll see, they're all as busy as can be. It's we to tell the biggest lee, well tell an hour what they can do. To hear them on they are that clever, they can make new lungs and liver. In fact they'll make you live forever up at Stanley Market. Father all the day, father all the day, father all the day, up at Stanley Market. There they'll stand and gape and shoot, and when the crew gets round about, they'll tell you they can cure the gout. Up at Stanley Market, they preach away and never smile. It's really grand to see their styles. They can tell the man they can cure the piles, tumours, ulcers, throats or biles. There they'll stand from 6 till 10 and tell the good they've done for men. They think the pitman doesn't ken that gans to Stanley Market. Father all the day, father all the day, father all the day, up at Stanley Market. And when you get mixed up with the throng, you'll find it hard to travel along, and you'll hear some stranger singing a song up at Stanley Market. There's a chap with second-hand clothes and boots and shoes, he's full of praise, but take no notice of what he says, he only wants your bits of peas. There's sausage, ducks and saveloys, and there's a stall without but toys, to please the little girls and boys up at Stanley Market. Falder all the day, falder all the day, falder all the day, up at Stanley Market. There you'll see a grand machine, it shines like silver nice and clean, it tries the nerves of fat and lean, up at Stanley Market. There's legs of pork from Rotterdam, bacon, beef and home-fed ham, black currant and strawberry jam, and only a moot of veal and lamb. You can get a tib but in it head, if you didn't know who the horse is bred. There's pots to stand below the bed, up at Stanley Market. Falder all the day, falder all the day, falder all the day, up at Stanley Market.
That, of course, is a local song, in the sense that it deals with a specific locality. Its humour depends, to some extent at any rate, on the audience being familiar with the subject of the song and on being able to relish the nuances of the local accent and dialect. It's unlikely that such a song could achieve the same kind of wide currency as, say, a song like Barbara Allen. Unlikely, I say, not impossible. Stranger things have happened with songs. Another source of material for the revival, albeit a limited one, has been the music hall. A handful of odd pieces from the early music halls of Glasgow, Dundee, Newcastle and London have been successfully incorporated into the revival repertoire, and the exploration of the mid-19th century stage song still goes on. Here is an amusing example of the genre, a piece dating from the 1880s written in Cockney rhyming slang, Totty, sung by Terry Yarnell, an industrial chemist from East London.
As she walked along the street with a little plates of meat, and the summer sunshine falling on the golden barnet fair, bright as angels from the skies were her dark blue mutton pies. Through me east and west and Cupid shot a shaft and left it there. She'd a Grecian, I suppose, and of Hampstead Heath to Rose, in a sunny south that glistened like two pretty strings of pearls. Down on me bread and cheese I did a drop and murmur, please, be me storm and strife, dear Totsie, oh, you darlingest of girls. Then a bow wow by her side, who till then had stood and tried a Jenny Lee to banish, which was on his Jonah's whale. Give her hydrophobia bark, she cried, what a Noah's Ark, and right through me rank and riches did me cribbage pegs assail. Ere a bulldog I could stop, she had called a ginger pop, who said, what the Henry Melville do you think you're doing there? And I hears that off I slunk, why the feller's Jumbo's trunk, and the Walter Joyce was totties with the golden barnet fair.
Soldiers' and sailors' songs from the First and Second World Wars are heard frequently these days in the folk clubs. Like the street songs and the children's pieces, they tend on the whole to be ribald, satirical or sentimental. They are rarely belligerent and almost never deal with the political issues of war. This sailor's parody from World War I, sung by John Reevy of Gateshead, is typical of them.
Sure, a little bit of heaven fell from out the sky one day, and it nestled in the ocean in a spot not far away. And when the sea lords saw it, it looked so bleak and bare, they said that they would leave it and build a naval base up there. And they sprinkled it with oilers just to make the matlows work, and with tankers and with thrifters so the bastards wouldn't shirk. And they sprinkled it with rain and hail, and wind and sleet and snow, and when they had it finished, well, they called it Scapa Flow.
The same cynical tone runs throughout the soldier song from the Second World War.
When I joined the army a few weeks ago, I left a good home to come here. I just couldn't eat any breakfast at all. My stomach was feeling so queer. For the sight of those browned ham and eggs on the plate fill me with loathing, I fear. But if I had known then, chum, just what I know now, I'd have eaten enough for a year. Tell me, boys, have you any complaints? The very next morning they bunged us some fish, and believe me, boys, that fish was cute. For that so-and-so fish, it stood up in the dish, and it gave us the fascist salute. Well, the fellas turned pale as they rose from their seats, some of them more than half dead. You can take it from me that the war would have stopped if they'd given it the Nazis instead. Tell me, boys, have you any complaints? Every morning for dinner they give us brown stew, and on Tuesday as well for a treat. We get stew so often, chum, that we thank God that there's only 7 days in a week. For the duff's a la brown and the stew is brown stew, they've all fancy names for the scoff. It would be far more honest to say that brown stew was stew that was bloody browned off. Tell me, boys, have you any complaints?
The comparatively recent discovery of our industrial folk songs has played a tremendous role in the revival, for these songs, as well as being of enormous historical importance, are also frequently very beautiful. The largest collected body of them are the coal miners' songs and ballads. A lesser number are the songs of textile workers. Here from Lancashire is a weaver's song dating from the period which followed the Napoleonic Wars, a period distinguished by mass unemployment and widespread economic distress, particularly among the Lancashire cotton operatives. Dennis Turner, a 24-year-old schoolteacher from Bolton, Lancashire, singing The Four-Loom Weaver.
I'm a four-loom weaver, as many a one knows. I've no tight and I've wore out me clothes. Me clogs are both broken and stockings I've none. And they'd hardly give me tuppence for all I've getten on. Out Billy at Bent, he kept telling me long. We might have better times if I'd not out me tongue. Well, I've held me tongue till I near lost me breath. And I feel in me heart that I'll soon climb to death. I'm a fallen waver, as many a one knows. I've no tight and I've wore out me clothes. Well, our Billy's all right, but he ne'er were clemmed. And he ne'er picked o'er in his life. We held on for 6 weeks, throut each day were the last. We tarried and shifted till now we're quite fast. We lived upon nettles while nettles were good, and Waterloo porridge with best us food. Our Margaret declares if it clothes to put on, it'd go up to London to see the great man. And if things didn't alter when the hero had been, I swears it would fight with blood up to thin. I'm a fallen waver, as many a one knows. I've no tight and I've wore out me clothes. Clogs we hen on and no looms to wave on. And I've woven me sails at far end.
And from the spinning section of the textile industry comes Droylsden Wakes, sung by Harry Boardman of Failsworth, Manchester.
It's Droylsden Wakes and we're coming to town to tell thee a summit's a great renown. And if this thou jade'll but let me begin, I'll show thee how hard and how fast I can spin. And it's three-dee well, ding dong dildo. You're an old bragger, and I don't think it's true, for though I uphold thee, the faults aren't a few. And when they're spun and thou's worked very hard, of this I am sure that the work is ill-marred. And it's three-dee well, ding dong dildo. Yes, saucy out jade, well, the best out thee tongue, or else I'll be thumping the air before long. And if I do, well, I sure for to rue, for I can find many a one good as you. And it's three-dee well, ding dong dildo. What's it to me then who you can have? It won't be long ere I'm laid in me grave. And when I'm dead and I've done what I can, you may find one that spins hard as I can. And it's three-dee well, ding dong dildo. Now come, me dear wife, for I'll not have thee rue, and this I will tell thee, and I'll tell it true. And if you'll forgive me for what I have said, I'll do me best for to please thee instead. And it's three-dee well, ding dong dildo. I'm glad for to hear that you will me forgive, and I will uphold thee as long as I live. So let us unite then and live free fra sin, and then we'll have nought for to think on but spin. And it's three-dee well, ding dong dildo.
Among the most moving of the coal miners' songs are those which deal with pit disasters. Tommy Armstrong, the Tanfield Colliery bard, was the author of a ballad commemorating an explosion at the Trimden Grange Colliery, County Durham, on February the 16th, 1882. Here it is, sung by Luke Killen of Gateshead.
Oh, let's not think of tomorrow, lest we disappointed be. Our joys may turn to sorrows, as we all may daily see. Today we're strong and healthy, but tomorrow comes a change. As we may see from the explosion that's occurred at Trimden Grange. Men and boys set out this morning for to earn their daily bread, not thinking that by evening they'd be none but with the dead. Let's think of Mrs. Burnett, once had sons but now has none. By the Trimden Grange explosion, Joseph, George and James have gone. God protect the weeping widow and raise up each drooping head. Be a father to the orphans, do not let them cry for bread. Death will pay us all a visit, they have only gone before, and we'll meet the Trimden victims where explosions are no more.
It would be a mistake to imagine that all industrial songs are as sombre as this one. On the contrary, many of them are very lively indeed, particularly those which celebrate a particular craft or sing the praises of a specific working group. The Work of the Weavers is such a song. It celebrates the old handloom days when Kincardineshire weavers carried their finished work on horseback along the pack trails to a central distribution point. It's sung by Enoch Kent of Glasgow, accompanied by Gordon McCulloch on guitar and Bobby Campbell on the fiddle.
We're all met together here to sit and to crack, our glasses in our hands and our work upon our back. And there's nae trade among yous all could either men or mac, gin it wasn't for the workings o' the weavers. If it wasn't for the weavers, what would they do? They wouldn't hae claith made o', no, they wouldn't hae cotton, neither black nor blue, gin it wasn't for the workings o' the weavers. The hiremen choose the muckers and the crack eye boots. They say that we're a thin-faced, bleached like cluts, and yet for other mockery they canny day with it. Now they winna want the workings o' the weavers. If it wasn't for the weavers, what would they do? They wouldn't hae claith made o', no, they wouldn't hae cotton, neither black nor blue, gin it wasn't for the work o' the weavers. The joiners and the slaters and the glaziers and all, the doctors and the ministers and them that live below, and our friends in South America, though them we never saw, but we ken they were the workings o' the weavers. If it wasn't for the weavers, what would we do? We wouldn't hae claith made o', no, we wouldn't hae cotton, neither black nor blue, and it wasn't for the work o' the weavers. The weaving is a trade that never can fail, so long as we need it to keep a body hale. So let us all get merry out a bicker o' get ale, and drink to the workings o' the weavers. If it wasn't for the weavers, what would they do? We wouldn't hae claith made o', we wouldn't hae cotton, neither black nor blue, and it wasn't for the work o' the weavers.
children's taunts, jeers, nonsense rhymes and catches, songs by 19th century industrial bards, barrack-room ballads, all these are grist to the mill of the folk song revivalist. And in addition, there are the new songs, the contemporary ballads written out of anger, love, a desire to prove that you too can be a bard, the new factory songs, the religious and political squibs, the newsy, pastiche imitations of 18th century broadsides, the good, the bad, the indifferent songs of our time, the ephemeral pieces and those destined to outlive the age which produced them. They come from here, there, and everywhere, the work of navvies and doctors, factory hands and school teachers, schoolboys, housewives, professional writers, and coal miners. We end this program with a song composed early this year by the headmaster of a West London senior modern school. The song deals with the death of one of his pupils in a road accident. The Ballad of John Andrews.
John Andrews was a coloured kid. He died when he was 8. He left his home at Notting Hill and walked into his fate. It was the month of August, about the hour of 2. The King's Head door stood open wide, the drinkers, they were few. Then to the park he made his way to play upon the bars. With care he used the crossing and waited for the cars. The buses, cars and lorries, they thundered down the hill. He took a step into the road and lay there deathly still. His mother, she was sent for, she came in dread and fear. Oh, Johnny, Johnny, speak to me, this is your mother dear. But Johnny could not answer, he tried to turn his head. They took him to the hospital and laid him on a bed. His mother hadn't seen his dad for 7 years at least. She thought he'd been a Catholic, so called the parish priest. But when he came, he quickly saw that little John was dying. He welcomed him into the church, his mother stood there crying. Now Johnny died at 8 o'clock, his mother by his bed. They led her weeping from the ward, is Johnny really dead? Who killed my darling Johnny? Who killed my dearest son? Why was he taken from me when he was still so young? The police could get no passerby to talk of Johnny's death. It wasn't worth the trouble, it wasn't worth the breath. Who saw the accident that day? Who saw him standing there? Who saw him make to cross the road? Who had the time to spare? They buried him at Gunnersbury, the cars roared overhead, racing down the Great West Road above the silent dead. They buried him with priest and spade, his brothers standing by. Black-coated women stared ahead, his mother turned to cry. Now Johnny's mother waited until the inquest came on Johnny boy, that nigger kid, where no one was to blame. The driver of the car was there, but witnesses were few. An open verdict was returned, for lunch was nearly due.
The Song Carriers was introduced by Ewan MacColl.
The singers were Moira McGee, Enoch Kent, Harry Boardman, Dominic Bean, Bob Blair, Anna Lyons, Jack Elliott, Terry Yarnell, John Reevy, Dennis Turner, Lou Killen, and Ewan McCall, and Peggy Seeger, banjo. The recorded programme was produced by Charles Parker. The 13th programme in the series will be broadcast at the same time next Friday.